sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you, for you, for you, for you, for you, for you, won't you let the light shine through. In the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you. Good morning, everybody. Well, 11 of you. This is the most impromptu stream I think I've ever done. I'm going to be completely honest. It's the classic line of I'm bored out my mind, and I've got 1 hour to pass. That's right, 1 hour. So I can't be talking loud because I'm in my bedroom, and essentially I just thought, you know what, I'll just do a stream for an hour. Why not? Because unfortunately I couldn't get on last night due to internet connection issues. I have no idea what happened last night. Effectively my Wi-Fi wouldn't connect to the laptop, the TV, my phone, nothing. So I have no idea what happened last night, and I thought, do you know what, Jason did such an excellent job last night. I really enjoyed Jason's stream last night. I listened to it this morning, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic. And Shaban, by the way, you were brilliant. I've got to say that really, really good. In fact, I will admit that I did actually listen to it live last night. I listened to like essentially virtually all of it up until Aussie Boy came on, and I really, really enjoyed especially the chat regarding VAR. What an absolute disaster that was yesterday, but it's the standard line. I can say hello to the 11 people that are watching. Jason, you're all going to get a wave if you're a WWE fan / NXT. If you know who Tyler Breeze is, you'll get a wave. So, morning Jason, morning Brew, Fruit Loops, Sydney Hammer, and then there's just a couple more. Shano, Mr. Captain Connolly there, and Nasu. Good morning. Good morning to the few of you that are joining in. And like I said, this is just purely a community team special. I thought, you know what, I'm sick to death of talking about my team. I'm sick to death of talking about Jason's team. I'm sick to death of talking about everybody else's team. I thought, you know what, let's just talk about the community team. We are early morning, so for people that are in the southern hemisphere, as I always say, so Australia and New Zealand, if you want to come live on air, all you've got to do is get into the Discord waiting room, and I'll take your calls this morning. Like I said, I'm only going to be on here for about an hour. And yeah, so, yes, the community team. It's actually done quite well, to be fair. So, if you're completely brand new to this, basically the community team is what you guys have chosen to do. We thought we'd set up a community team which represents Elite FPL, and we're not going to lie, myself and Jason, we were so wrapped up with our own teams that basically we completely forgot all about it, and we couldn't be doing the transfers or anything like that. So we thought, you know what, I'm just going to hand it over to Phil and Resi Desi. Now, at the moment as it stands, I am on, well, you guys are on 29 points right now. And, hey Jason, mate, we're experiencing technical issues. Why isn't the chat coming up on screen? There's one for you, Jason. If you're still watching this, Jason, there is no chat coming up on screen. So typical, isn't it? The stream's working fine, and the one thing that you want coming up on screen, there's no chat whatsoever. Anyway, back to what I was talking about, which was your community team. And Phil and Andy, Resi Desi, they've taken over it basically. And you did a wild card, and this was the wild card that was played. You went with Nick Pope in goal. We did a stream, a special stream regarding it. Nick Pope in goal, Alexander Arnold, Tomori, Pereira, Mane, Yarmolenko, Mount, De Bruyne, Vardy, Callum Wilson, Abraham, and then on the bench it was Button, Bowley, Kelly, and then Donker. And 29 points overall rank. Wow, 2.2 million. At least I'm beating somebody. Blink it now. That's extraordinary. And in the specific league that you guys have entered, you've dropped down to 20th. Now I don't know if that's 20 out of 20. It's called the Extremes of Stupidity and Genius. It was set up by Stephen Tomori at 6th Goal on Twitter. And it looks like we are bottom. Brilliant. So we're bottom of the league. We are 6 points off from being off the bottom spot. We're on 431 points. Top spot is on 515. And that is a team entitled That FPL Podcast, who are 29,000th in the world. Wow. Captain King. And they played their wild card as well. Wow, that's the kind of teams you guys are up against, basically. That's extraordinary. Yeah, what a day yesterday. Absolutely load of rubbish. Pathetic. And I thought yesterday was an absolute disaster. I mean, Jason and Shaban covered it really, really well yesterday, but we had 4 incidences of VAR in which nothing, no goals were given whatsoever. Jimenez having 2 goals ruled off for whatever reason. An Aston Villa goal that was ruled off very, very late on. And then, of course, Burnley having a goal ruled off essentially because Chris Wood touched Johnny Evans. And it's, yeah, I mean, Brew straight away saying, try going to a Spurs game. Oh, that's just awful, that was. That is pathetic from Spurs. I don't know what's going on there, but that is just, let's be brutally honest here, it is atrocious. What's going on at Tottenham at the moment. And like I said, I think that there's more to it than Pochettino's tactics. I think it's a dressing room issue. I really do, and I think they need to either air their views in a behind closed doors changing room Royal Rumble or something, because something's going on at Spurs which is not helping the team whatsoever. But up on screen at the moment, we've got yesterday's results. And I think the biggest shock of them all was, we keep banging on about it, but Bournemouth 0, Norwich 0. A team in Bournemouth that seem to be able to score for fun, and Norwich, who can't defend for their lives, finally getting a clean sheet. So we started off the day yesterday, Everton 2, West Ham 0. We had Sigurdsson and Bernard scoring the goals, with Richarlison and Walcott getting the assists. The bonus points went to... Wait a minute, how many bonus points do you want to give out? Sidibe with 3, Bernard with 2, Keane, that's Michael Keane, Pickford with 1 each, and Roberto with 1. We then move on to Aston Villa versus Brighton. Aston Villa coming out on top 2-1. A Grealish with a goal and an assist, and then a very, very late goal for Target. Gilbert getting the other assist. And for Brighton, it was Webster with the goal and Gross getting the assist there. And the bonus coming in with Grealish with 3, Target with 2, and Pascal Gross with 1. We then move on to Bournemouth versus Norwich, 0-0. The bonus system coming in with 3 for Steve Cook, Ake and Rico getting 2 each. Chelsea, Newcastle again. The result doesn't surprise me, but by all accounts, Chelsea absolutely dominated the game and could have easily won 2, maybe 3. From what I heard, that Abraham and Mason Mount missed a few sitters, especially Abraham, but Alonso of all people with the goal, and my man Hudson-Odoi getting his traditional assist. Alonso getting 3 bonus points, Hudson-Odoi with... Oh, he got 3 as well. What is going on with the bonus systems here? Why can't you just do 3-2-1? I can't complain, but because I got Hudson-Odoi, but... and then Kurt Zuma with the 1. Of course, Leicester winning 2-1 against my lads Burnley. I'm not disappointed with the result. I think I'm disappointed more with the VAR decision, if anything. I think the VAR is the one that I'm more disappointed with. At the end of the day, Leicester should be, at the end of the day, if they've got any ambitions to get into the top 6, if not the top 4, they have to be beating teams like us. They did it. I said it'd be a tight game. It was actually quite a tight game, to be fair. But we've got Vardy of course, with a goal, haunting me. I jinxed him, of course. Tielemans with the other, and Harvey Barnes with the 2 assists, and then Chris Wood for Burnley, and Dwight McNeil, which is cool, getting an assist there. And you got Harvey Barnes with 3 bonus, Vardy with 2, Tielemans with 2. Moving on to Brew and Booner's, real life experience of a disastrous game. Spurs versus Watford. Of course, Watford were leading 1-0 for the majority of the game through Decorah and Janmaat with the assist. Then all of a sudden, in about the, I don't know whatever minute it was, late on, Ali with a controversial VAR decision coming in, getting the goal, and ending 1-1. And like I said, there are some serious issues with Spurs at the moment. The bonus points coming in there with Janmaat with 3, Decorah with 2, and Ali with 1. Moving on to Wolves 1, Southampton 1. Wolves doing their usual drawing every single game. Very, very controversial, this particular fixture, with 2 VAR decisions ruling out 2 Jimenez goals. Eventually Jimenez did get a goal in a penalty, but it was Danny Ings that started off the scoring. Danny Ings, that's now I believe 4 in 4, with Højbjerg getting the assist, and Doherty being fouled in the penalty area and Jimenez converting the penalty. We got Danny Ings with 3, Jimenez with 2, and Højbjerg with the 1 bonus. And then finally on to Crystal Palace 0, Man City 2. I did win something yesterday at least. I won a bet, albeit I don't think I've come out with a profit in the end, but so yeah, Jesus opening up with the scoring there with a Bernardo Silva assist, and then late on David Silva with Sterling getting the assist there. The bonus points going David Silva 3, of course Cancelo with 3, and Jesus with 2 there. Yeah, it's just very, very odd results yesterday, and like I say, this is the community team. Sorry, wrong page. We'll bring up their points and everything. If you want to come live on air, you've got 47 minutes. I'm only going to be going on for an hour. I just want to reflect on yesterday, my disappointment about what happened, albeit this is a community team special here. It'd be interesting to hear what you guys think about your community team. It's 2.2 million in the world. It's doing really, really bad in this specific mini league we entered in the extremes of stupidity and genius. And yeah, I'm a bit disappointed really how bad this community team is doing. But then again, if me and Jason are going to neglect it, what do I expect? But we can turn it around and everything, and we can find out what is going on. So yeah, like I said, if you want to come and discuss yesterday's games, how your team got on. Talking of games, we've got the big one, Man United versus Liverpool today. Don't think it's going to be that high scoring. It's going to be, I went 1-0 to Liverpool. I think it's going to be a very, very tight game. It wouldn't surprise me if it ended 0-0. Jason, I think, predicted 0-0, or was it Dan? I can't remember. But in fact, I've got the one about here. Who went 0-0? It was Jason. Jason went 0-0. Dan went 1-1. I went 1-0. The history went 2-1 to Liverpool. History did quite well, and of course the history came out on top again with its captaincy choice. If you had Sterling, it said Sterling to score. I mean, Nasu straight away. I need Mane and Trent Alexander-Arnold masterclass. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. Although Robert Dinsmore, is Grealish an option? Well, interestingly enough, someone put up on the Fantasy Football Scout site that Grealish could be a really good option because he's now playing in a different position. He's now playing on a left of a front three, which is now allowing him to be a bit more free. And all the talk is coming out quite positive for Jack Grealish. And interestingly enough, I've actually considered a Jack Grealish based on the comments made by not only the Jack Grealish himself, but also the manager. And it sounds very, very positive coming out from what they're saying. So let's just quickly go over Jack Grealish this season. He's 5.9, I believe. He may have gone down in price even more, but certainly here we are. He's 5.9. Let's look at his information. 2 goals and 3 assists this season. And like I said, he's got 2 goals in the last 2. He got a goal and assist yesterday, of course. Moving forward. That's why. That's why you want to avoid him like the plague. Yeah, terrible. Man City away next. I mean, that is going to be, it's got to be 4 or 5 to Man City. In fact, that is a perfect Aguero Sterling captaincy choice for that particular game week. And then, of course, it's another horrific fixture in Liverpool at home. Local derby, Wolves away, that could bring something in. Newcastle at home, that's nice. And then we got Man United away. I mean, that's not exactly a tough fixture. And Chelsea away, that's going to be, I can see that being high scoring. But maybe if you were to bring him in from game week 16, who knows, is Jack Grealish an option? You can only find out tomorrow. Like I said, if you want to come live on air, get in that Discord, get in the waiting room, and I'll be more than happy to. We've only got 43 minutes left. No, 33 minutes left of this particular stream. 43 minutes left. God, my maths is terrible. So, Mujad Zulia saying, I'm done, make a transfer, Son to Mane. Seems like a very good option indeed. Nasu saying, I'm going to captain Kevin De Bruyne again. Well, I always keep saying this, if you're going to captain Kevin De Bruyne, only do it at home fixtures. And, well, it's Aston Villa at home next, so why not? Robert Dinsmore asking, is Leicester defence still good? Don't ask. Because I've got double, would you believe? Soyuncu and Pereira. Absolutely ridiculous. And I'm not, like I said, if you want to see the wild card drama, my last minute draft, by all means just go onto YouTube and watch that specific video. I know Jason, he quickly uploaded a video regarding my meltdown in the last dying seconds of the 11:30 deadline. So Uncle Juicy TV, good morning to you there. Clement LaRue, is Salah to Mane still an option? They're quite closely priced now, with Mane increasing and Salah dropping in price. Well, when listening to Planet FPL's team up, collaboration, whatever you want to call it, with who got the assist, basically they said that if both players were exactly the same price, who would you go with? And they both, well, they all said Mane, because basically Mane is matching Salah for when it comes to chances created, chances scored, etc, etc. I mean, Aussie boy saying I wouldn't bother, it seems like a waste of a transfer. I do agree with that, but if you're basing on statistics or whatever, then yeah, it's not really it may be worth doing, but I personally wouldn't bother per se. Like I said, up on screen at the moment is the community team. What would you do with it? It is a wildcard team. You've got 0.8 in the bank. Looking at it on screen now, what would people in chat do? Yeah, Nasu making a point there. Steve, did you see Kevin De Bruyne? I haven't seen any of it, but yes, I have heard about this because we covered it live last night, and he could have scored an open goal, but Jesus decided to shoot instead. Brilliant. Mr. Blue Nathan, there's 0.8 in the bank for this wildcard team. So it's a case of what would you guys do to this team if there was an option to transfer? Like I said, this is all in Phil and Resi Desi's hands. It's completely out of my control. I'm not touching it. I'm not allowed to touch it. But it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on what you would what you would do. Clement LaRue making a point to Aussie boy here. Salah to Mane would free up funds to get Jimenez in for Greenwood. Jimenez, is he an option? Is he somebody worth looking into? Let's just bring him up. Jimenez, 7.1, 3 goals, 2 assists. Has he picked up form at last? I mean, we're talking last 2 fixtures. He got 2 assists, would you believe, against Man City, and then he scored yesterday, but he could have got a hat-trick. Or he should have had a hat-trick. Their next fixtures, Newcastle away, that's going to be tough. Arsenal away, that should be easy. And then they got Aston Villa at home in a local derby, but then nice set of fixtures, Bournemouth, Sheffield United, West Ham, Brighton. Is Jimenez worth bringing into this community team? Vince Chapman making a point regarding this community team. Yarmolenko to Hudson-Odoi. I'm surprised that the community went with Yarmolenko, to be honest with you. I don't know why the community actually went with Yarmolenko. I don't think he's that great an option, personally. Again, that's just my opinion. It means absolutely nothing. But Vince Chapman, we couldn't bring in Hudson-Odoi because you've got 3 Chelsea players in Tomori, Mount and Abraham. So that would be impossible to do. Yeah, Nasu making a point that see how Wolves play in the Europa League. Well, we all know the answer to that. They are absolutely useless when it comes to playing after the Europa League. They just seem to draw every single game. I don't know why. What I mean, their fixtures. I mean, if you look at Wolves' fixtures, 0-0, 1-1, 1-1, 1-1, 1-1. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 draws out of 9. That's crazy. That's crazy. And yet, bizarrely, they beat Man City 2-0. As a general overall picture of it, you know, barring Chelsea losing 5-2, which is a shambolic result, you know what? Wolves have done really, really well this season. They've done really, really well this season. So it's just a shame that I keep saying this, it's the same with Leicester as well. It's just their points seem to be all over the place. Vince Chapman, Jimenez doesn't take penalties. He took one yesterday. Now, unless it's because various other players weren't on the pitch, then Jimenez did take the penalty yesterday. So, unless we're completely mistaken and Jimenez isn't, then there we are. Clement LaRue, Steve, have you watched Watford yesterday? Nope. They have turned the corner now with their form, or was Spurs just that poor and made them look good? I'm looking at Yamat. I would say that Spurs are just that bad. Spurs are, well, I will use the term, they're a bunch of clowns. They aren't. There's something about Spurs this season which they're not a coherent unit. They are not clearly playing with each other. So, unfortunately, I just think that he, or Spurs in general, need to have a meeting. It's as simple as it gets. I think Spurs need to have a private meeting. Obviously, it's not going to be public. Although I heard yesterday they're doing a Netflix video. They're doing a Netflix a documentary, just like Sunderland, Man City and every other football team in the world. Good morning, Resi Desi. As you can see up on screen now, I've been talking about you all morning. It's the community team. I can't be bothered to talk about my team. I can't be bothered to talk about Jason's team. So I am doing the community team instead. I just want to show everybody about the community team, how well they've done and everything. And at the moment you're on 29 points, but 2.2 million in the world. And we're just looking at the team maybe to see if potentially what transfer could be made to this team, if anything. I'll turn the audio up. I mean, I'm not being funny, but it can't be that low. It'll be low because I'm talking quietly, but it won't be that low for nobody not being able to hear this. I mean, it's virtually at full blast. I'll turn it up a bit, but I can't really be talking too loud due to where my location is in the house. So I've turned it up a bit more, but I don't want to be breaking the boundaries when it comes to the sound barrier, because I know exactly how loud it comes. Good or not? Yeah, Resi Desi making the point that this team is doing better than me. It's doing better than me as well. It's blimey, we've had a couple of subscribers in the past 30 seconds. What's going on here? This is the early morning show, everybody. I try to do one once a week for the Southern Hemisphere fans that can't get involved during the night streams. And yeah, so like I said, if anybody wants to come live on air, you've got 33 minutes left to maybe come live on air and join me to discuss the game week so far, because let's be brutally honest here, it's been an absolute disaster of a game week. And Nasu, how can you be doing Vardy and David? Oh, my transfer plans are to get Vardy and David Silva. Not a bad choice. Robert Dinsmore, how did Tammy play? Well, I can't specifically comment. All I can say is that he had a few chances that he didn't put away. There's an idea, Andy, aka Resi Desi. Stoned Villian saying Tielemans in for Yarmolenko. Perhaps. Shano, I just feel like Mount might dry up since he got the England call up. Just got that feeling, but hope I'm wrong. Nah, I wouldn't go that far. Stone Villain again making the point that Frederick's in for Kelly. Well, how much is he? That's the question. I'm assuming they're roughly the same price. Let's find out how much Frederick's is. 4.5. Well, if you've got the money. All I can say is if you've got the money and you're willing to do it, like you mentioned with the fixtures, 3 excellent fixtures. Sheffield United at home, I can see that being 0-0, 1-0. Newcastle at home, again, can see that being a very, very tight game. And then Burnley away, that's going to be 2-1 either way. So, yeah. For Kelly, who didn't start yesterday, why not? Yeah. Nasu bringing up the point that, of course, Shano captaining Connolly, and next week, exactly. You said it, Shano. You're going to be triple captaining Connolly next week, and they've got who? Everton. Is it Everton? I'm sure it is. I'm almost 100% certain it's Everton up next. Yes, but it's at home. And Everton are, well, let's be honest here, they're rubbish. Absolutely awful. Though someone did mention earlier, is it worth bringing in a Everton defender, aka Sidibe? Well, let's just find that. Sidibe 5.3. I can't comment on why he hasn't started any matches other than yesterday's, and then he made what I'm assuming was a sub appearance. But for 5.3, I would avoid Everton like the plague. Robert saying that Everton played brilliantly yesterday. Vince Chapman, it's not FPL without Jimenez. Have you got him? Did you bring him in? Kerim Trigg saying this is the first time here looking for ideas. I wouldn't bother, mate. This isn't a tip site, so this is a community. The Elite FPL show is about a community and talking things, all things FPL. We're more than happy to talk to you. We're more than happy to give you an opinion. We're more than happy to share our thought processes. But if you're here specifically to tell you what to do, ain't bother. But if you're more than willing to ask a question, and if you want to get part of the Discord and want to come live on air, Everybody's very, very shy, a bit like last night with Jason. And I'm not going to quite do a Jason by brutally saying that, like I've done in the past, if no one comes on air, I'm quitting the show now. But that was hilarious, by the way. But what I will say is that I do want to get you on live on air. Please come live on air. The waiting room is completely early. Cy Bellamy saying, I admire you that you've come on this morning after having a poor game week, Steve. I don't think I've had a poor game. I think everybody's had a poor game week. No one's had exactly a spectacular one. I think the average is, 20 points? Is that the average for the overall game? Let's just quickly find out what the average is. 23. And I know for a fact that I got more than 23 points. So I think I got 26 in the end. But that's the community team that got 29. It did get a green arrow. It moved up to 2,263,000. A bit like me. I moved up to 1.4 million. Absolutely useless. Robert Dinsmore saying that this specific season has been so unpredictable. Well, it seems more the fact that players are scoring that you would expect, but not when you're wanting to score, if you know what I mean. So, for example, Abraham's been doing really, really well this season, but the one game that you'd expect him to score in, he fails. In fact, I'm sure someone put up something about Abraham at home. Yeah, it's something about the fact that Abraham at home is basically rubbish. And looking at it here, you can forget game week 1 against Man United because that was a full-on anomaly. But Leicester at home, okay, he played 29 minutes. But Norwich away, 2 goals. Okay, Sheffield United at home, he got 2 goals. But then Wolves away, 3 goals. And then he had 2 home fixtures, albeit against Liverpool and Brighton. He blanked. And then away from home, he got 1 goal. So who's he up next against? Us. They're always tight games against Burnley. Do I expect Abraham to score? Yeah, why not? So, that's a question, Cy Bellamy. I have no idea. I'm not looking at my team. I can't be bothered. But Cy Bellamy saying, did your pre-wildcard team get more points than your wildcard itself? I can look on my phone, but I can't bring it up on screen, unfortunately. FPL Penguin, good morning to you. If you want to come live on air, there's only a few... My goodness, Davey FPL is here. Let's get him on. Morning, Davey. Are you there?
How's it, Steve-O?
Here is the man himself. Good morning, Davey FPL.
Morning to you too.
Essentially, we're going through our community team. I'm not really wanting to talk about my team, Jason's team, or anything. Unfortunately,
yeah, no worries.
Unfortunately, I can't bring up your team. But how has your game week gone so far?
I think I got the same amount of points as you. I think you got 29.
I've no idea.
You get 29.
I know you're in our cash mini league, and you're actually doing 29 points. You're doing very, very well, aren't you? In fact, you're doing exceedingly well. You're unfortunately.
It doesn't feel like it.
No, it's been a.
But like, I came back because I didn't watch any football yesterday. And then I come back and I see. I was like, oh guys, we've managed to get a red arrow here, and then I wake up this morning and it's a green arrow. So,
and
really know.
You're up to 12th in our cash mini league. You are really closing down the ranks. You are third. You're 29 points off first. You're only, my maths is terrible here, but you're only, I think, 19 points off the final cash spot in 4th. Mate, you're having a very, very good season. Despite how everything's going, you are, where are you ranked? I know you're doing really well. 66,000th is an excellent rank this particular season. But yeah, you said you came back home yesterday. You saw the results.
Yeah.
What was the most disappointing result for you?
Look, everything I thought would happen. So the Chelsea Newcastle game was kind of, I always thought it would be a tight game, but I always thought that Chelsea would manage 1 or 2 goals. So one goal from Abraham would have been enough, and in retrospect, that would have been good. The Man City game went to par. There were other games. Probably the biggest one was the whole Bournemouth-Norwich game. It wasn't too bad for me, as I am an Ake owner.
Oh yeah, of course. I
played the odds. Yeah.
Sorry to interject. I keep because every time I watch your videos, I'm like, oh, he's got Ake. He gets those points in every other week. Please tell me, why do you own Ake?
Like, this is the thing is, I don't know why I own Ake, but to be honest, he's been one of my best performers. So basically what happened was, I don't know if you remember at the start of the season, had that nice double up of the newly promoted sides. They had Sheffield United and then Aston Villa.
Right, okay.
Basically, I had triple Bournemouth then. I had Wilson, King, and Ake.
Yeah.
Ake was kind of just I just looked and I saw that he has nice fixtures, and I was like, if you're going to be banking on sides to get clean sheets, it's got to be against a team like Sheffield United and Aston Villa. And then what's happened is we've kind of had this accumulation of other fires to put out. Conservative FPL manager, so I don't really like using my transfers. So here we have Nathan Ake, who's managed to survive 9 game weeks just by other players just doing badly. And it kind of comes down to every single video I'm doing. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a nice farewell present from Ake. This is going to be his goodbye. And then next game week, Pukki's not performing, so now he's going to be transferred out. And Ake just survives. And I've probably got a team with the second worst defense, and he's one of my most expensive defenders. So,
and yet, that's what really frustrates me about top players like yourself, is that it doesn't matter how bad the players are that play in the team, so to speak. And what I mean is, you've just mentioned Bournemouth's defence is shambolic. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I know what you said.
Ake just seems to pop up with a goal, seems to pop up with an assist. In this case, turns up with a clean sheet and 2 bonus points. It drives me up the wall. But you've just mentioned about putting out fires. I hear that Otamendi may be out injured for quite a while. I could be completely speaking utter nonsense, but have you heard anything on this?
Even I heard it was a knock, apparently.
Right, okay.
Situations that are tough now, because now we don't know if he's going to be coming back, and if he is, you don't really want to be transferring him out. But I'm just pretty happy that I got rid of Zinchenko when I did. Also another problem, because I mean he was fit and he didn't even play. So
the question I want to ask you really is this overall season. We're at Gameweek 9. Someone mentioned in chat earlier on that this season has been very inconsistent with players where you think, for example, yesterday, Abraham's been scoring for fun this season. Yet, when you expect him to do something, like in your case, you've captained him, he planks. It's the same with Kevin De Bruyne. Okay, admittedly, my whatever people may think about my wildcard draft last second decision, I had it on De Bruyne, and you would have thought he may have come in with an assist, albeit he was very unlucky yesterday. How are you finding this season so far, despite doing very, very well?
Well, like, this season's been weird for me because I've kind of hectically involved 100% with the fantasy. I'm kind of just enjoying back from that long break we had. So example for today, even though it's been a bad game week relatively, I'm still excited because obviously Liverpool play Manchester United later. Just kind of been enjoying the football a little bit more, but I guess that's kind of when you take the pressure off it, because I don't feel that much pressure this season to do that well. I've kind of taken it as a recovery season from last season, so I've seen a lot of people get really annoyed with it. I must say that I think that you and Jason have been having quite a like a negative season. I don't think it's been a negative season. I think that it's a long season still. I kind of always wanted to just reach out and be like, Steve-o, don't really worry about
Don't pick your
the
laptop
rank.
up and throw it out the window.
I'm sure most people enjoy this content. I don't know if you're feeling pressure on making FPL content, but I think a lot of people just enjoy watching you and do your thing on here.
In all seriousness, I'll answer that actually. So I don't want to take this a bit too deep, but I'm going to answer that in a kind of a serious way.
You can take it deep Sunday morning.
What time is it there over where you are? Just of interest.
10:30. Yeah.
Say that again. Sorry, you just broke up there.
10:30.
Is that at night or in the morning?
In the morning. I'm just, I think, an hour ahead or behind you.
Oh, is that it?
I think ahead of.
Okay. Oh, okay. So I heard a question yesterday on the Planet FPL and Who Got the Assist. They did a collaboration together, and one of the questions that they were asked was, if you couldn't do fantasy football content, would there be another podcast you could do? Blah 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 blah. And they gave their answer and everything. And I thought about it, and I thought, for me, I have legitimately been doing fantasy football now across the board for about 10 years. And 10 years of my life, when I first started doing this, I was doing it for emails, I was doing all the reports and updating the mini leagues all through written text, everything. And I would hand out sheets of paper, I'd email people, everything that was going on. And then you fast forward to when to where we are now, whereas I'm just literally, me and Jason are just broadcasting something that we really, really love in front of, in this case, 70 people. Sometimes it's up to 200, 300 people. And you mentioned about pressure, and no, I don't find the pressure in the sense of people are screaming at me saying, why are you doing this? Why? I couldn't care less what people think. But what me and Jason, not what we're doing, but what we enjoy doing is the fact that we're taking everybody's, Brett Mollison keeps banging on about this storyline regarding this cash mini league that we take so seriously. Like, it's gone from basically, 10 work colleagues to where you're involved in a cash mini league, literally across the world. And we're just broadcasting this narrative to the audience. And whether people enjoy it or not, that's their choice. But I'd like to think, like you just said, that they are. And for people like myself and Jason, the way we're playing the game is exactly how I play it last year, the year before that, and so on and so forth. But just like you made a point here, this year just seems to be so negative. Like, nothing seems to be going my way. I'll give you, you'll know as a Liverpool fan, last week, or whenever it was, game week 8, I could have had Salah penalty, and if Salah had been on the pitch and scored the penalty, I don't think I would have wildcarded. But he came off injured, and we all know what happened. Milner took the penalty. That one small differential that I had could have made the difference of a red arrow to a green arrow, for example. But it didn't. And nothing I seem to do this season goes right. Like, people will listen to what I say. I just speak utter nonsense when I'm on air. I'm just rabbiting on and on and on, and people pick up on what I say, and they're like, do you know what, Jack Grealish? That's not a bad idea. He says that the fixtures are rubbish, but he's just mentioned the fact that he's in a different system now. He's really enjoying playing, and he's gone and scored 2 goals and got an assist. You know what? For 5.9, I'll put a punt on him. They'll do it, and Jack Grealish in the next 5 will probably come up with 2 goals and 2 assists, for example. Someone like me will be like, yeah, but it's Aston Villa. They've got really bad fixtures. The biggest one that I've said live on air was when I mentioned about captaining Kevin De Bruyne at every home game. Do I listen to my own advice? No, but other people do. And they've been getting Kevin De Bruyne captaincy points at home every single week. And I am playing the game with no pressure whatsoever. I'm playing it because I just enjoy what I do. I take a cash mini league very, very, very seriously. But this season just seems to be, like we've just discussed, completely all over the place. And reality is that the reason why me and Jason do, especially me, I'm not going to lie, I just do the streaming because I genuinely do enjoy it. I genuinely enjoy interacting with people like yourself live on air. I love talking to people in the chat when they have something constructive to say. I think it's fantastic. And I'd rather do this than just be writing on I'm just holding up a piece of paper on the screen, but writing on a piece of paper, like someone mentioned the other day about doing season tickers and everything. I'm not a hardcore fantasy football player. I don't want to be poncing about doing all that rubbish. I would rather be discussing my thought process, which is exactly what I do to myself anyway, when I'm not streaming. I'd rather just do it live on air and involve a load of people rather than doing it on my own on a desk. do you know, I don't know what you take from that, but yeah, I'm just, me personally, I just don't know what to do with this season, mate.
I want to ask you, do you think, because you take fantasy football quite seriously, so I think most people that do, but do you put pressure on yourself from an overall rank basis, or is the cash mini league something that you that you want to like win? Or
yeah, not win. I want to come in the cash places. So like I said with you, you're only 18, 19 points off fourth spot in our cash mini league, which is the final cash spot. Every season that I do that I've done the cash mini league, I've always set a target. I want to come a minimum of fourth. First, I mean, if I get first, I'll quit the game. But getting a cash spot for me, I take very, very seriously. And at the end of the day, fantasy football for me, just like music, just like wrestling, it's a hobby of mine. And I really, really enjoy it. The only difference is that I can just do this live on air and just, like I said, chat with people like you. The pressure for definite, I think, I'm not going to lie, I think the pressure for me is probably the mini rivalry that myself and Jason have got. And I get so, well, you've seen it. People see it. I get so angry at in fact, I was thinking about this in the car on the way to gym this morning, where I'm thinking to myself, Jason has the audacity to do a free hit, bring in obvious players, right? That's fine. I get bringing in people like Tammy Abraham, Mount, Salah, whoever. But he has the audacity to not only go, who's a 4 million goalkeeper that plays? I'll just put in a McGovern from Norwich. And you know what happened.
I know it. Yeah.
McGovern concedes 5, I nearly swore then, 5 goals, and he still comes out the game with, what was it, 9 points or something? It's so infuriating. Yeah. This specific game week, he does a minus, this happened all last year, he did a minus 12. And yet, he brings in Ramsdale of Bournemouth. You've even just alluded to it. The Bournemouth defence are a shambles. And yet, he has Ramsdale in goal. He has Rico as his defender. And he gets double Bournemouth clean sheet. It is ridiculous. And it doesn't matter what logical choices I make. Because it all happened last year. No matter what logical choices I make in this game, whether it's captaincy, transfers regarding minus points, the wild card, nothing seems to go right. And every single one of Jason's differentials, or my differentials on Jason's, just seem to cover the points. It wouldn't surprise me today in your game versus Man United if Trent Alexander-Arnold, he goes and gets a clean sheet, gets an assist, but then Matip goes and gets a goal and a clean sheet, but Trent Alexander-Arnold gets 3 bonus points and they just cancel each other out. It really wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. It's, like I say, I legitimately love doing the streaming. This conversation that I'm having with you now, there is no way in hell I'm having this conversation any other time other than live on air, which is, in my mind, completely crazy. But I'm sure there are people listening to this enjoying what we're talking about. And I like you said, the pressure for me is more, it is the Cash Mini League, but I'm not gonna, like I said, I don't lie. It's just that mini rivalry with Jason, and like I keep banging on about. Davey FPL, you're doing well. What do I do?
Hey, what did you say? I didn't catch the question.
I was just wondering. It's all tongue in cheek, but what do I do to stop Jason?
Gotta delete the squad and hit the auto pick. The only way, Steve. Gotta bring in the likes of Bernard and Rangel. No, you just have to stick with it and let Jason hit himself into the negative values.
Yeah. I mean, one of my biggest decisions yesterday, in all seriousness, was Daily Llama, one of our regulars. I mean, you know Daily Llama. He made a point which is just go with your gut. And my gut for my wild card was the AAA, so Aubameyang, Aguero, and Abraham up front. And then if I was to do it, it would have been a cheap back four. It would have involved, I don't know, Sciencu, Bowley, Lundstrom, Rico, and Lascelles as an example as a 4.4. Just quickly, your thoughts on actually investing in cheaper defence, because essentially the premium teams, whether it's Man City, Liverpool, Man U, Arsenal, Tottenham, they're just not keeping clean sheets. But the cheaper teams, like Bournemouth in your case, are. Your thoughts on maybe going forward with a cheap defence and just basically having midfield and attack of just high-priced players?
Well, if I was to wildcard, I probably would do that. I probably would have gone cheaper in defense. I know it's probably sounding a little bit contradictory because I've kind of done the opposite. I brought in Pereira for Dean, so that's another premium option instead of downgrading to someone like Siyonchu. Wildcard, I think I would edge more towards that side. I think this season's a lot different to last season with the defenders just not really being that consistent. And as you say, with your defense, there's always that kind of gateway that they can get the same amount of points as a premium defender, whereas with the attackers, generally the premium attackers are a lot better than the cheaper attackers or something like that. So I think that I would do that. Obviously not go like a 4 million in each position, but I think that there's extreme value in kind of that 5 mil to 4 mil range. Look at someone like Rico, Tomori proving good value now. Soyuncu is another one. And these are kind of players that are going to be playing every week per se. So you can kind of just stick them in and just hope for the best. Look at fixtures to make sure that they have good fixtures, because with that, what happens with the worst teams is they kind of get drilled a lot. So then you're looking at those minus points for those defenders, which isn't great. But definitely I would have looked at cheaper alternatives. It also opens up to having a premium option that you can easily downgrade then because they just have so much cash.
I'm sure you're bored to death of talking about what players to have instead of this, but we do get this question asked a lot, and I know what you know what's going to be coming. It is, do you have Salah or Mane? As a Liverpool fan, your thoughts on that?
I would go 100% Mane. I just think that he's the better player this season. I always go back to something that Mane offers, that headering threat. I don't know if you've ever watched Liverpool, but off the corners, off crosses, he's always on the header, whereas Salah just doesn't offer that. I think Mane is playing better than Salah this season, so I would go for Mane. If I was to wildcard, that would be probably one of my first options. I just don't think it's worth the sideways move of transferring him out for Mane. But if I was to wildcard, I would go for Mane 100%.
Another quick question. Your thoughts on Hudson-Odoi?
So Hudson-Odoi is an interesting one. Say that he played really well yesterday. He's like Lampard generally likes these younger players. I think that Pulisic is kicking himself for making the transfer because he's not even getting on the field at all basically nowadays. But I think it's worth almost a punt. It feels to me like kind of you can kind of hop on that Mason Mount bandwagon like early on, So for most of us, we kind of got on it quite late. But with Hudson-Odoi, it seems like it's that period where you can kind of jump on now, and he hasn't really been hitting that massive form, but he has the potential to. And I think that maybe the Newcastle game wasn't a good reflection of Chelsea, but they're just super attacking forward. I think that their youth is their biggest advantage, but also their biggest disadvantage, because they seem to snatch at opportunities. They're not that clinical. Whereas if you had more of a mature striker, maybe they would be getting those chances more often in the back of the net. But I just think that with these younger players, they always want to be on attacking sides. They're always going to be taking on defenders. So I think it's worth taking a punt on Hudson-Odoi. It's kind of that price bracket where there's not that many options at the moment. So he definitely can have the potential. And with Chelsea's nice fixtures, I think it's worth just taking a punt on.
Absolutely. And before we let you go, because I'm going to be going off air in a few minutes' time, but I'd like to get your thoughts on today's game between, forgetting fantasy football, just legitimately your thoughts on Man United versus Liverpool, and your thoughts on the game and a prediction.
Oh, well, Steve, I hope we absolutely smash them. I'm not talking 2-0 here. No, but honestly, I find it so annoying how whenever we play United, they are in this dip of form. Perfect game for them to bounce back and to turn their season around. It happens all the time. We on top form, and then we come again and play against them, and then it's a 0-0, or they sneak a win, and suddenly their season's back on track. But to be honest, I think it might be a draw.
Wow.
Be an exciting one. I think it all depends on what the halftime score is. If we manage to score before halftime, I think that we'll go on to win comfortably. But if it's 0-0 at halftime, I think that this might be another 0-0.
Yeah, Jason's predicting the 0-0. He's actually saying that at the end of the day, it's only the midfield for Man United that are bad. Actually, their defence isn't too bad at all, and we all know the underlying statistics. Though they've actually conceded more goals than they should be. So you're predicting a 0-0, maybe a 1-1. Wow. I mean,
yeah, around there. But to be honest, I think that they haven't come up against a Liverpool attack. Do you know what I'm saying? You can talk about underlying numbers and whatever, but they played against a Leicester side that probably should have beat them. I watched that game. A little bit hit or miss. But I think that in this game, I don't think there's anyone that's not saying that they should win it. Man, you probably will bet on a win. Maybe not a 3-0, but maybe a 1-0, 2-0.
Yeah, I'm going with a tight game, and I think Liverpool should just edge it. I think that the quality of what Liverpool have got, and it's such a big game, and I'm telling you now, if Liverpool don't get anything but 3 points, I think that could potentially have an impact on them in the sense of, we're now down to 5. Let's just say you lost. We're now down to 5 points.
Yes, yeah.
And and we all know what happened last. Was it a 5-point lead you had last year, and then you blew it or something? Remind me.
I think it might have been more than that. I think it might have been a 6 to 8 point lead. I don't know.
Wow. So yeah, and it may have potentially a detrimental effect on the team if you don't get a positive result.
Around of the Man City fixture in 2 game weeks time. For that, I think if we lost to United and then we lost to City, I think then we could say that I mean, Liverpool have tough fixtures now. It's United, Spurs, and then City, I think. There's a Aston Villa game or something in between.
Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, I've done an auto, like we all do. We do an auto pick team, and I've got Mane as my captain because at the moment Tottenham, they're just.
Tottenham are looking,
Have you any an opinion on what's going on at Tottenham? My personal opinion is that there's something going on in the dressing room which is affecting the team performance. Have you got any thoughts on Tottenham's?
I don't. I think any time that you performing badly as a squad, there's going to be some dressing room stuff. But I just think it's simply Spurs rely on I'm talking in fantasy football terms here in real life. They rely on their main men a lot. So Spurs' squad isn't that strong. So if Harry Kane's not performing or if Heung-min Son's not performing, they generally don't perform. What's been interesting for me is how the likes of Lucas Moura hasn't had a run in this season. He's a great player, and I think they should have played him, especially when the likes of their results weren't taking place. I think you just throw him on, give him a start, and you see what happens. Lively when he does come on. I just think Spurs are in a little bit of a rut at the moment. I think that they'll get out of it. I don't think that firing Pochettino is the right move. I think that if they do fire him, he'll be snatched up immediately, and I think that just tells you about the likes of him as a manager. I think that they've spent quite a bit of money on players that maybe haven't really increased their performance that well. I think they just kind of got to get through it. Maybe the expectations are a little bit too high. I don't think that Spurs were ever going to be titles. So I think that from now to the end of the season, I mean, if you look at the top four now, it probably won't be the top four at the end of the season. So.
No, I agree with you there. I mean, well, to be fair, Liverpool, Man City, we know it's going to be them too. I remember at the start of the season, I predicted that it should be Spurs third, and then I actually went with Chelsea fourth, but then I kind of changed my mind and put it as Arsenal as fourth, due to Arsenal's manager and a bit more experience. But at the moment, I'm thinking maybe Chelsea will get fourth. Another question regarding, like I said, I don't want to be talking fantasy football. I'm sure you're a bit not bored of it, but you know, from a real life perspective, it's always.
I'm never bored, Steve-O.
No.
I'm never bored.
How are you finding the performance of Leicester this year? It's just completely taken off.
I think I haven't really paid that much attention to Leicester, so yeah, I thought against Liverpool that you could see who the better squad was, but I guess you're never going to be expecting Leicester to really be up there challenging against Liverpool and Man City. I think they'll give them a good run, but I think that Leicester have performed pretty well. I think that their players are playing quite well. The likes of James Maddison is performing better. I mean, he had that injury, so when I think he was played for Norwich, and then he got transferred over to Leicester. I know Liverpool were looking at him, so that's why I knew that they kind of fell off after that injury. But I think that they are performing quite well. I think that we have to kind of commend them on losing the likes of Harry Maguire. I know that they got a lot of money for him, but I don't think they invested that much back into the squad. So the likes of Soyuncu has been performing quite well for them. And I always liked Brendan Rodgers when he was at Liverpool. I liked him as a manager. So I'm very happy that they have been performing under him. And I think that, they're going to give it a run, but I think they might just fall out at the end in the top four spots. I think that they've been performing higher than expected. So I guess we have to offer them some commendment on that.
Yeah, you mentioned their fixture versus United where they lost 1-0. I think for me personally, that was when I said to myself, if Leicester have got any ambitions to be... I made the point earlier on about ambitions getting into the top four, beating teams like Burnley. But I think that to really be challenging, beating teams like Man United away would make a statement. They lost 1-0 and I was like... But the following match, they then went and beat Tottenham 2-1. They narrowly missed...
Okay, I don't even know why, because if you didn't watch the game, you would have seen we had something, and they had one shot on target. But a lot of people were, I think,
We were doing Soccer Saturday, and that Liverpool... In fact, I was doing it on my own, in my mobile, that's right. And basically, Liverpool, it was just all I could hear was so-and-so, Salah is in, oh, he's missed. Mane's in, oh, he's missed. And all these other players just bombarding the net, but they just couldn't find the back of it, essentially. So, whatever happened there, no idea.
It was a crazy game.
Now, if you were to pick a team that could break up the top four, would it be Leicester, or would it be, in fact, could it be West Ham, or do you think the West Ham are that team that just can't seem to... I mean, that result yesterday was, I think, from my point of view, was shocking.
I don't think West Ham is going to do it at all. I think it will be Leicester. I think if you look at the table, you see that Crystal Palace also performing quite well. Your boys Burnley also doing quite well. I just think that these teams will over the season they'll kind of you'll get the medium result of kind of it will be have the highs and the lows, and that will kind of equal out probably at a top spot finish in that top of the table. But I think if there's going to be a side that's challenging for that top four, it's going to be Leicester. I think that they just have better quality than the others.
I mean, regarding challenging for the top four, um, again, your
Yes.
thoughts on Everton this season? I mean, we all thought that when we come into the season, Everton, they had a really good clean sheet record towards the end of last season. They conceded one
Yeah.
goal in about
Yeah.
9 games during pre-season, and then we come into the actual season, and they seem to be not quite
Yeah.
whipping boys, but can't seem to keep a clean sheet other than yesterday. Your thoughts on Everton and just lack of attacking
Yeah.
returns, really, and clean sheets?
Yeah. Well, being a Liverpool fan, I think that in FPL I'm actually very unbiased. So I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
I don't think that anyone can say that I'm the disregarded team. But I had high expectations for Everton. I thought maybe not even from an attacking point of view, but I think just from a defensive point of view, I thought that they would be a lot more defensively sure. I owned Dean until last game week. I transferred him out this game week, and then of course he gets the clean sheet.
Of course.
But they just seem to blow hot and cold. I think if you own their players, you just got to hold them or something. I think that they are underperforming. I think that with Everton, they always seem to they win the transfer market almost, but then that never kind of translates into a good position. I think people at the start of the season were considering Leicester and Everton to be kind of the top four challengers, a real shot of doing it. But I think that just basically their new signings haven't been performing that well. I don't know if they've given Moise Keane the most support.
No.
I don't know if they kind of have their system in order, but I think once they get the system in order, we could be looking at a better squad. I think that their midfield and attack are kind of putting a lot of pressure on defense by not performing.
Yeah, absolutely. Davey FPL, it's been an absolute pleasure you coming live on air, and really appreciate the time you've taken out. I mean, you've been on air now for about 40 minutes, and I've gone over time, so I really do appreciate you coming on the show, my friend.
No worries.
Cheers, dude. Take it easy, mate.
Oh, thanks, Steve.
There's Davey FPL there joining us live on the Elite FPL breakfast show. Really do, like I said, really do appreciate Davey coming on. Joined us for 40 minutes, and let's be honest here, we didn't really talk about fantasy football, but I think, to be honest with you, after this game week, we're all sick to death of talking about fantasy football, to be honest with you. Yeah, right. There we have it. FPL Penguin, I know you're in the waiting room, but I'm not being rude. Come on tonight. I'll tell Jason to make you a priority to come on air tonight. And yeah, that's right. Myself and Jason are back tonight. We are back tonight. It's one of our more popular shows. It's the Sunday Surgery, where myself and Jason will essentially be looking over your teams and seeing what we would advise you to do. Up on screen at the moment is the community team. I know Resi Desi's there. I know that Phil will be watching, I'm sure, at some point on the replay, the catch-up, whatever you want to call it. But this is the community team at the moment. The pair of them will be putting up a couple of polls probably this week regarding this community team, what we want to do for this specific team here. Because... yeah, it's been wildcarded, but there's a couple of players in there which I think some people aren't really happy with. Mainly Yarmolenko, but, whatever. Right then, let's just quickly wrap up by doing the admin. So, by the way, I'm not going to apologise per se, but I'm personally am a bit frustrated as to why the chat wasn't coming up on the left-hand side. I don't know why that's the case, but I'm sure Jason is probably screaming, going, you just need to do this. Press this button here. But unfortunately, he's not here. So, yeah, but whatever. So, on to the admin, the boring bit. If you've enjoyed this impromptu breakfast show, the easiest way to say thank you is just by hitting the like button. Just hit the like button as I always do, the old walking away. As you're walking out, just simply hit the like button. If you are brand new around here and you've enjoyed the content that myself and Jason have done over the past... Yesterday we did 7 hours worth of streaming. Now, I thought we would be doing about 8 or 9, but it turned out that it was about 7. Mainly because Jason and I weren't on together. So I reckon if we were on together last night, it would have gone on for 8 hours. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case, but whatever. So 7 hours worth of streaming yesterday. If you want to watch the full narrative, as I mentioned to Davey FPL, this extraordinary narrative that we were all part of regarding this Cash Mini League, by all means, watch it from my wildcard draft stream through Soccer Saturday into Crystal Palace versus Man United, and then into Jason's wonderful co-hosted show with Shaban, the FPL Call, and that was done last night. Again, really enjoyed that, Jason and Shaban. Appreciate, especially Shaban coming on co-hosting. And yeah, like I said, if you do enjoy all the content that we're producing and you're not subscribed, by all means, just hit that subscribe button. Like I say, we are virtually a daily live streamer. I'm not going to lie, it's been a bit easier this week and next week because I'm on holiday. So my time is a bit more spared. And you never know, there could be a Champions League post match show with myself and Jason. You never know. Again, stay tuned for that. The way to find out all this information is, of course, through Twitter. Twitter is basically where I immediately will post a advert about the fact that I'm going live. And not only that, but the second I hit send, I'm immediately putting into the Discord. And of course, the Discord is, of course, how people like Davey FPL can come live on air and chat to not just me, but you guys, the nation. The nation of six, the Elite FPL nation. In fact, that's one for you, FPL. A t-shirt to be designed by Jason. And this is for all WWE wrestling fans from 1999. Elite FPL Nation of Domination. Oh, I'm laughing at my own joke. Anyway, yeah, so essentially, yeah, get into that Discord and join up there, and we will... No, thank you, Kerim. Admittedly, Kerim, you came on the second that I had a caller on, in this case Davey FPL, so thank you. Yeah, actually, that's a very good point. Pegeshian is making a point. The Discord isn't working. Resi Desi has actually said that... oh, there we are. Thank you to Tomo Weiser. Tomo Weiser, thank you for the subscribe there. Yeah, there are issues with Discord at the moment, although ironically, the one person that always has issues with Discord, which is me, had a very coherent and wonderful conversation with Davey FPL. So I don't know what happened there, but whatever. Unfortunately, at the moment, Discord seems to be having a bit of troubleshooting, I think the word is. But I will leave it there. Like I said, you can join myself and Jason tonight for Sunday Surgery and Davey FPL is predicting 0-0, 1-1, a tight game. I said 1-0. And yeah, you can join us at approximately, I think it's 8 o'clock we go live tonight. So 8 o'clock live tonight, myself and Jason will be taking your calls regarding your teams and everything. And of course, hear Jason's thoughts on the United performance versus Liverpool. It's a big one. It's a very, very big one indeed. Other than that, oh yeah, Instagram. Follow us on Instagram. Do you know what? Everybody's sick to death of me speaking now. I want to get out of here. So, yeah. Have a good day, everybody. And myself and Jason will see you tonight at 8 p.m. Cheers, guys, and thank you for joining me.